couple of minutes. But I noticed you started putting up some more video, more frequent, like in the last, during this period, this February.
Yeah. I still feel super like this pull to be here now for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me fix this. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. What is this period?
What is this period? Yeah. That's a good question. But, well, what I feel is, well, now we had this just energetic quickening of everything, of the dissolution of everything that's false. And that includes in our own lives, of course.
First and foremost. Yeah, first and foremost in our own lives. Yeah.
So not just the systems and the matrix outside, but also the matrix, so to say, inside of us.
Yeah. And then like these dates, like, people were talking about the 22nd of February or 22nd of February. What's today? I'm the 21st.
Oh, it's 22nd.
It's already started. Yeah. Cause it's in the Southern Hemisphere, but like people talked about that for a long time. And this month has been quite extraordinary. It has been quite extraordinary. A lot of deep dives, I think, for people. I wonder how much of the world's actually feeling this. Like, I mean, how much of the world is actually going, hey, something's not right. I mean, I can't see how more and more people couldn't be wakening up.
Yeah, I am not very connected to, let's say, normal people, because pretty much, all my friends and all my network are people who have been on the journey for some years.
Yeah.
But still, what I observe, and also I look at my parents, and I just look on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter. For everyone, a lot is going on. It's just the question, what do you see in that? Do you see, either, I'm like, such bad things are happening to me, when will this be over? When will we go back to normal? Or you see, okay, wow, I'm being challenged by this, but let me look deeper. Like, what beliefs do I have around this? So do you see this as a mirror, as an opportunity to grow, or do you just see this as something bad that's happening?
Yeah.
But I think everyone is experiencing, challenges. I really think.
Yeah, I don't see how they couldn't be. Whether they're conscious of it or not.
Yeah.
Or some people say, I don't really agree with it, but like they're not awake. Because I think about some people I know, like some family members, and as an example. And I know this one family member, and I don't want to say what my relation is, but I know this person, and I know they think about this stuff, but they don't give it very much thought. And they're a good person. They're a good person. They're a good family person. They just go about their business. They just go about their work, and they, so I don't know. Is that, ultimately, the litmus test? Can you just go through your life and do, what you want doing and what you love doing and so on and so on? I don't know.
I think actually that everyone's journey is unique. We were not meant all to wake up, so to say, but what does this even mean, to wake up?
Right.
I don't think there is one definition that can fit everyone. I know like various types of people who, they don't feel energy. Like if I tell them about energy, they will be, I don't know what's this, I don't believe this. But but then they look at what's going around or going on around them, and they are very clear that something is wrong. You know, they don't believe what they are being told from the media. So are these people awake? You know, what's the definition? I think it doesn't matter what's the definition. I mean, ultimately we are going through this transformation together. Like we are all going through this. No one is exempt, I think. I mean, you can you know, try to pretend that nothing's going on, but I think everyone is feeling these waves in one way or another.
I don't see how they couldn't be. There's just I just don't see it. I had an interesting experience last night. I was flipping through something, one of those, I don't know, maybe it was Facebook, I don't remember. Anyway, I saw this this article where the friend of that French modeling agent Jean something had hung himself. He committed suicide. Jeffrey Epstein's bunch, right? And I'm looking at it going, God, this is, because I'm not looking at it and I'm not getting a charge. I'm looking at it going, trying to like put myself in people's shoes. Like even like with the show, I've always tried to like represent the audience. Like, what are they feeling? What questions do I need to ask? But so I looked at the article, and then it had like several pictures. And it had pictures of this guy with like Bill Clinton and Bill Gates and Giselle Maxwell. And what struck me was, because they were like in party atmosphere. And what struck me was how human they looked. Like I could see the same type of feelings that we might have walking into a party. Like I could feel their self-consciousness. I could feel like they were just regular human beings. And I thought, wow, that's weird. All these people that we talk about and they get all this press, like people, for instance, that are, in the 1% or whatever, they're just people. I have a feeling that they're just people. They don't know anything more or less than we do in terms of, that part that we can't get full evidence of, that we have to have, faith in, that's moved so many of us to do what we're doing. But I don't know. It's just an interesting time.
I mean, I see this. If you try to figure out what's actually going on, I think you go down a never-ending rabbit hole. There are so many theories and so many everything. You can get lost. So how I look at it is, this is like a play, that was designed for us to go into this massive transformation where we awaken just to what is our truth, and to transition to a way of living where we don't live by these templates and by what we are told from the outside, but we live from inside out. So I really look at all of this. I mean, of course, I get frustrated. Sometimes I get angry when I see some things in the news or what's going on, because people are suffering because of this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I don't know.
This design, this is a design that's unfolding for us to remember.
Yeah,
that
I think
we are
so.
free and sovereign.
I think so. I try to. I think this month has been real big for me. Excuse me. But like, I am soul. I am soul. Some people call it the higher self. That's not something out there. It's in here. This body is the I am soul. The only thing keeping me from I guess, like, experiencing life as a soul in a human body, as a soul that's had many lifetimes on this planet and other planets and whatever, and like not even trying, because I've actually had a couple of communions where it's just come in and said, you're one voice. If you want to be one voice and operate this life 50-50, 50% soul, 50% human, then we can do this, Todd. That's the kind of thing I'm hearing. And then it also helps me, because then if I look at other people and I look at, you know, what they're projecting from my perspective, because I'm not saying my perspective is accurate, because if it gives me makes me uncomfortable, then I know I need to like look at myself. And that's not like a cliche. It's actually got some information for me. But when I look at other people with empathy, and I think to myself, wow, that's horrible that somebody would have to go through that, or whatever the case is. And then I said, tell myself, you know, but what did you go through? And what did Maja go through? And what did others go through? Like, in other words, that's the soul's choice. And I know as a human consciousness, or the human aspect has free will, but the soul is still very dominant. And, it will whisper, then it will nudge you, and then it will get a little louder, get a little bit louder. We had a friend we had lunch with, what would have been 2 years ago, 3 years ago now? God, time's flying. How long have we known each other? 3 years? But we were having lunch with her, and I remember she said, the higher self, the soul, is, if you don't listen as time goes on, and this was 3 years ago, it's going to embarrass the hell out of you. Mm-hmm. Like, if you don't listen, things are going to happen in your life, as we all know, that can get louder and louder. And I just wonder about that element. I would think that, people are have to be the solar energy, or the photonic light, or whatever you want to call it, whatever it is, the information, the awakening codes, whatever you want to call it, has to be getting to everybody. I can't see how it couldn't be.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, the frequency on Earth, I feel it's so different than 2 years ago, even than 1 year ago. It's so much higher. And I mean, I see when I look around, what's happening. People are organizing themselves. They are exiting the system. They are quitting jobs. They are creating a different life for themselves and their loved ones with just more courage. They are stepping into the unknown.
So letting their hair grow out.
What?
They're letting their hair grow out. I love this, but I love the statement, because that captures it. I mean, people are doing that. People are doing them. They're doing themselves. Right? That's what you're saying. Like, they're not. We had somebody on. We had a couple on yesterday from Thailand, and the guy's from South Africa, and they have a beautiful story coming together and all this, and they've been together a while. And so they were living in Thailand, and she's doing, like energy work, and she does some art and stuff. But he had a 9-to-5 job as a teacher, and he quit the job. He said, and of course, having that steady income made it very doable, but his heart moved him, and he just said, I got to quit my job, and I'm going to start playing the didgeridoo. I can never say that word. Didgeridoo. Didgeridoo. Didge. He started playing the didge, and in essence, he followed his heart. There was no game plan. There was no guarantee of how we're going to replace the income, and just the energy of doing, to thine own self be true. It just it's working. I mean, and I think that's something a lot of people in these communities can speak about. You did it. I mean, you were an attorney working for the state, and then I'll start getting your downloads, and next thing you know, you're in another country, and you're being an energy practitioner and a surfer. I mean, it's wild.
Yeah. And I want to say this, I mean, to everyone who is listening, and also to the people who watch my videos, like, I continue getting these challenges in my life. It's not like they stopped at some point because I'm so whatever, aware and conscious, whatever. No, I keep getting challenges where, I look deeper. Okay, what beliefs do I have here with which I'm limiting myself? Where am I telling myself, no, this is not possible, or I can't have something so good, or whatever. Right. I still have this. So, yeah. And I say this because I made this short video just today. We so much tend to compare ourselves to all the people that we see on social media who seem, you know, like, I don't
Everything's
know.
fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine with butt implants. I'm kidding. Yeah, people can do whatever they want. No, yeah, and you know what the other thing I noticed too is that the story, that's really the reason I like to look at the headlines, is because I like to see what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to the point now where it's silly. Like, you can see what they're trying to say. Like, I saw an ad, a headline yesterday that was like, Putin is going to, drop a bomb, or I don't know what the headline was, but it was just like, there it is. That's not even true. I can just feel it. Yet, how many people take that in? And really what I was thinking about is what I would have done 20 years ago. I would have looked at it and went, oh, Russia's the bad guy, so like, it's just programming. But what I noticed about what's going on, especially with Corona, is they'll say one thing and then the opposite starts to happen, right? Like I saw this thing, this video, and then I looked it up on Google just from a few days ago. And I'm not here to talk about Corona. We can, it doesn't matter to me, but I'm just using this as an example. And Bill Gates comes out on video in an interview, and basically what he says in so many words is that Omnicron is a vaccine, meaning that it's serving certain purposes of increasing two particular types of cells, which create immunity and I think more than that. But anyway, my point is, he was basically saying how we didn't do a good job of getting the vaccines out, and now the Omnicron is doing a better job than the vaccines. And I'm like going, wait, didn't you just say this, and now you're saying that, and openly talking about things that, I mean, it's just too much out there that people, they have to notice. I would think they would have to notice.
Yeah, but this is what I was already saying this 2 years ago, that now, because there is so much information that is what's the word, that contradicts each other.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah.
And people have access to all of this, and then they're like, what do I believe? Like, this is this and this is the opposite, so now what?
And and what does that sound like? What does that sound like, really? That sounds like our journeys, right? Because you hit this point of confusion. I remember telling Morgan many times, I'm confused, and she goes, good. That's good. Yeah. So the confusion, the chaos, to where you just have like too much information, and then you have to pull into yourself and really start feeling or getting to know your feelings, and so on and so on and so on, So yeah. It's weird because it's like what I'm seeing, like I was telling her yesterday when I read that and I saw that video. She actually sent it to me. Then I researched it, and I thought, wouldn't that be something that if something ill-intended, if that's what happened, something that was ill-intended ends up actually creating a better immune system and people living longer that actually assist us in going from a carbon body to a light body? Because I mean, in this article, he said, and I can almost quote it, what has happened because of Omnicron is that people that are older, people that are overweight, and I think he said like diabetes, they're actually have immunities. They're not dying, right? In other words, that something's happened there that's actually benefited them. So, wouldn't that be crazy? That everything, even if it looks dark, is actually all leading to the same place. I think that's probably what's happening.
I mean, yeah, but this is what I was saying earlier, that this game, whoever, the whole thing, like more even than just COVID, like all the banking stuff and everything that's gonna come up now, all of this, whoever came up with this, for me, I see this as a catalyst of awakening,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, no doubt.
The effect, I think, is this, what we have been waiting for years. We were like, 2012, now it's gonna happen. Okay, not yet. And then whatever next years, and I think that's
And I know that, any of us can go out and look for what we want and we'll find it. We can find data or posts or articles or videos that are in our favor of our whatever perspective we want to hold. But one thing I've noticed, and I'm not sure if I've seen enough out there, I just want to throw up this comment real quick because it's a pretty good one. It's from Hung, our friend. I totally believe Omnicron is the natural COVID herd community. I also believe it was created from the collective consciousness shifting the narrative. See, that's what I was talking about. Like, it actually works the opposite. But anyway, what I was going to say is, God, I forgot now. What were we talking about? Anyway, don't forget it. Forget about it. Oh, I know what it was. One of the things I noticed, and I was okay. First of all, I noticed that in like Canberra and in Ottawa, and even like some of the demonstrations I've seen in Europe, even if I go back a few months, and I don't want to say too far, but like 3-4 months, every one of these demonstrations that I see, there's no anger from the people demonstrating.
Yeah.
And they're really cool and balanced, right? Now the thing that, and of course you see the police stuff, like I saw some stuff from Canada where they were just like on horses and they ran over a lady who was in one of those disability motor scooters, and I mean, like, crazy shit. But and that I can kind of say, oh, okay, well, that's their job, they think they're doing the right thing, whatever. But what shocked me is the people that oppose the people that are demonstrating and how angry they get. I'm like, whoa, that's wild. Because it's like the people that are more balanced and saying, hey, we know this thing's kind of a shit show, but you know what? We're not going to lose our cool. We're not going to raise arms and so on. And then the people that are like standing by the narrative are going a little nuts here, right?
Yeah, but I think this is because, they actually, somewhere deep inside, they feel that they are forcing themselves to follow the narrative. And then they look at these people who just said, you know what, like, I'm not following this. And I go out and we are all together here and we are dancing and singing, what I so often see at these protests.
Yeah.
That's actually very triggering, I think,
Well, I think so. And again, what does that sound like? I would imagine, excuse me, I would imagine most of us, we've all had dark nights of the soul. And many of us have been in situations like a job, okay, or a relationship or whatever, where something's just not right. And we keep ignoring it, and we keep trying to like promote it and support it and act, you know what I mean? And really, we're not telling anyone else. We're not convincing anyone else. We're trying to convince ourselves, but then we get to the point where it breaks, right? And so many of us have that in our story. And maybe that's what's happening. See, they love your hair, by the way. I told you.
Yeah, thank you.
Harold,
I can
you have a new.
I will say something about the hair because it was a big revelation for me. But I just wanted to add to what you were saying, that if you think about it, often when you look at yourself and you think of one of these situations when you had the feeling but you were just dismissing or something, and like you always knew somewhere deep inside you knew that something was off. Like most of us knew. If I talk to people who talk about a challenging situation, they all say, I felt something was off, but I was just like either busy or a lot of people are just trying to survive.
True.
So when you are trying to survive, provide for your family, this is so much, like you don't concern yourself, I think, with
That's true.
Yeah.
That's, you know what, that's a really good point, because I was just looking at something yesterday, and I've seen statistics like this before, but it was talking particularly about or specifically about Los Angeles, and that in Los Angeles proper, the city itself, not the outlying areas, that 4 out of 5 people, let's see how this went. 4 out of 5 people were $400, like expense or medical bill or something, whatever, from being basically broke, and 80%, which I think is pretty much the same number, right? Were living paycheck to paycheck. So you're right. I mean, in that type of, not that we're not, but you know, I understand that, because, you know, even like being on the street and stuff, and getting to know people that don't have money, and that live in, you know, let's just say more challenging, you know, situations. Yeah, you're probably right. They probably don't even think about it.
I really feel, you know, this is so, and you know, in the last year or 2 years, I've been very interested in financial systems and how this works, because before this, for me, was just non-existing. I never thought about it. I was just money, go away. I don't want to think of this. And from the moment that I started embracing money, I also then became curious about financial systems. And the more I look into financial systems that exist right now, you know, globally, the more I see that they are designed as a prison for people, you know,
Absolutely.
to people with just enough money to survive and always trying to survive. And when you are trying to survive, when you, like, our basic needs, right, are we need to eat, we need to have shelter. So when you are battling for this, you know, when you are in this state of consciousness that you feel you need to battle for this, you cannot think about your spiritual path or energy or opening your heart, because
I mean, that's the and that's where we all were. You know, that's where humanity's been. It was a attack on the root chakra. You know, like, you think so much about your survival that you take what little breadcrumbs you get, and then you look. But you know, it's like, what's being put out there, it's no longer working like it did.
Yeah.
So even and so, like, this thing about I swear to God, I saw this sign. It was with the police in Ottawa, and it said, protesters, even if you leave, we will find you, or we will, you know, pursue you, and, you know, charge you, and take your bank account. Like, I'm looking at this stuff going, wait a minute. Yeah, you start taking people's bank accounts, right? Or something to that extent. More and more people are going to go, no, that's not cool. Right. I mean, even if they've been ignoring it. Like, so it's like everything that's happening to counter, let's say, to counter the awakening or sovereignty is actually working for us. Just like if you think about it, just like COVID. It's working for us. It's actually benefiting us. It's made more people step away from the rat race and get to know their family and friends, get to know themselves better, and become more aware. So
this is all a catalyst. All of this is a catalyst for humankind to free themselves. How you say, ourselves? I believe so. Yeah. To step out of the rat race and to see, that it's like you can go beyond just surviving.
Yeah,
really,
absolutely.
A lot of people live like that. You know, I come from a country. Slovenia has never been a rich country. You know, I grew up. This was still part of Yugoslavia. And well, you were basically just surviving, and that was the mentality that we always had there. So I grew up like that, you know, and then I saw this, how it affected my soul mission. So when I didn't have money, and I was like really worried, you know, where will be my home tomorrow, like so on. I just could not open my creativity as much as when I felt safe. Okay, I have food, I have enough income, money, whatever, I have a home. I can relax, you know, the basic needs of the human. We are still human. And I saw how everything expanded then from on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing is this energy does a lot of things, right? But I think overall, if I had to say what's the one thing that it does, it creates, I guess, like a good pressure on the individual, good pressure from the soul perspective, maybe uncomfortable to the human, but good pressure on the human consciousness, the aspect of the multidimensionality that's kind of on point, to be present with itself, to feel itself, and to discern things. I don't know. It's just yeah. I mean, it's called the Great Revealing or the Great Unveiling, and like you said at the top of the show, yeah, this might all be happening out there, but at the core of it all, it's our own unveiling to ourselves, which is that's a big job. That we've done it. I think we've done a great job. It's a hell of a story, the human story.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing, like when I look mostly at my membership, because there I have a more close connection to the people. My God, I see how everyone has expanded in these last 2 years, where the whole world was being pressed down and like, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, and so on. People were massively expanding, in like just in how they feel, but also in how they express themselves on the outside, in what they create. So I saw like really amazing expansion, in myself and others.
Yeah. And God, this whole feeling that there's going to be like a bubble that burst, like something's got to give. Like, for instance, and I'm talking about like the physical mechanics of the world that are holding up an illusion. So, like, and I went and researched this too because I saw it. And 40% of the money that's been produced by the United States, printed, 40% of it's been in the last 12 months. That's like mind blowing, right? Like what is that? You know what I mean? It's like it just makes you go, God, the money's not even real. Like you just print it and you give it to all the big oligarchs at the top and let it trickle down. Yeah, it's crazy.
But I think this is the next illusion that's gonna fall, money, because if you think about it, now we have the highest inflation in the last 40 years.
Yeah, worldwide. Yeah.
So people will start thinking, they are starting to think, okay, what is the Fed actually? It's a privately owned institution. Like, how many people know this, or how many people knew about this 2 years ago? Much less than now, and then they will start thinking, oh, private institution, and then they just decide to print the money, and what do we get? Inflation. So
That's
what
right.
we are saying
with the same amount of money. So you have the same amount of money and everything goes up.
so what is money then? Like, what?
Exactly. Yeah.
The bank, and it's not even there, because banks are supposed to have just what, I think 10% reserve.
That's it. Yeah, they have you deposit 1,000, they can lend 10,000. No, they can. Yeah, they can lend 10,000 off of 1,000. So 9,000 is not even there. I think the greatest thing in the world would be just stop paying. Just, and I think maybe that's what's happening. Like, people stop participating, right? I don't know if you remember. Well, you probably don't because you're not my age. But I remember when the USSR broke up, right? And I think Gorbachev went in there and they separated. The countries that wanted to have independence left and all that, and they had like literally, and this would have been in what, the early 90s or the late 80s. Late 80s. They had like, this whole network of black market, so people could get stuff. And the other thing was they had these really long, literally food lines. And I thought to myself, wow, what if that happened now? I don't think people would behave the way they did then. I don't think they'd be like going, "Oh, we're just happy to have it," like give me my bread and I'll go home for the day. I don't think
You
people
know
would do that.
what, so I lived this. We had this in
Oh,
Yugoslavia.
wow. Oh,
We
you
had
did.
inflation, yeah. That
How old were you when that happened? That was in the 90s, wasn't it? Was it when Yugoslavia broke up?
yeah, in 91.
Okay.
Yugoslavia broke up, but this was it just before? I mean, I'm born in 77, so
Okay, so you were like a teenager. So what happened? Did you guys had food lines?
I mean, we did. It was not like in the ex-Soviet Union. So my ex-partner, he is from Estonia, so he was telling me in Estonia, of these giant food lines. In Yugoslavia was not like this, but the inflation was so massive, that like we had what I don't remember, but like a loaf of bread, 1 million, something like this. The money was just worthless, and then on the black market you were buying German marks because that had value. So like I've kind of seen this. So when I talk about inflation, I'm not talking just about some concept that
You're not talking about gas going from $2 to $5. You're talking about like milk going from $4 to $28 or some crazy thing like that, right?
well, yeah. I mean, what was the guy telling me that sometimes like they paid the paycheck, and by the time you received it already, it was worth so much less.
Yeah.
And some people in Slovenia are thinking now about this. Should we prepare for this now? Should we start paying? Because in Slovenia, the paycheck comes once a month. That's like the regular thing. Should we start paying every week to prepare for this? Or, should we make a plan for this, perhaps?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's crazy. It doesn't take long to figure it out because if you look at like any of these, the chief oligarchs or the richer people, the richest people, they might have whatever, I don't know, to $200 billion net worth. Well, there's 8 billion people on the planet, and there's $200 billion sitting over here.
Yeah.
That it doesn't even like, and I think and if you look at history, a lot of the revolutions, a lot of the cycles of revolution followed this template, where the rich got richer and the poor got poor, and they finally got fed up, and the military didn't back the establishment. The military backed an alternate choice.
I mean, I think, ultimately we are all people.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think then, even military police, whoever, who are now standing for the governments or whoever, they are people in the end. They are not robots. I mean, whatever. Okay, if you are in a certain state of consciousness, you can close yourself from some things. But if this is lasting really long and you are looking at what's going on around you, I don't know. I believe in people. I believe
do
in
too.
people.
Absolutely. Human is a hero. I believe the human species is incredible. I was watching Matthias De Stefano, season 4, episodes 7 and 8. I don't know. I got drawn to it yesterday. There's probably like 12 or 13 of them that I haven't seen. And I just happened to jump on there and I saw it. And in these episodes, he was talking about the science and the history of Earth. He was talking about how the 6-dimensional beings came in, actually incarnated so that they could put the code in the blood of the earth, which is the water, and all this stuff. I won't get into too much of it. But in the story, and I find him to be very credible, like Franco. In the story, one of the general takeaways is that the universe understands the uniqueness and the specialness of the human and the power of the human, acknowledging that it's bigger than any other species because of what we're composed of, and how now that we're come to this time, we're graduating, and like it's been delayed, but time's up, in the universe. It's time, so it's going to happen one way or the other. That's my feeling. My feeling is I'm really focused on, like what you're talking about, just, my personal presence, my loves, my passions, my, what would I like to do? What would I like to experience as a soul in a human body at this time that serves myself, the other, and the collective equally. And at the same time, hey, if I'm a soul in this body, why can't I do supernatural things? Why can't I, do these things that, I bring it up a lot on the show, but like teleport or whatever? Why can't I do these things? Why can't I leave my body or take my body and go have these very, physical experiences? And I think we've experienced some of this, and I think there's got to be people around the world experiencing some pretty extraordinary things. And I think, to talk about that is, or things like that, or even like the kids, these young kids that are coming in and they're talking about being born on other planets, and, that they're here to save the earth, or I mean, there's just a lot of stuff out there that I think more people are privy to or experiencing than we know.
Yeah, and I think, this, however you want to call them, spiritual gifts, capacities. I mean, I don't see them as gifts, because I think this is just something that we have inside of us, whether it's open yet or not. This is expanding now really a lot. Yeah, we are really starting to live a multidimensional life more consciously.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I really do. Yeah, there's just and some of the other things I picked up in those two episodes. One of them was talking about that they were talking about there was a time when the humans were living longer, and then it kind of went into the science of why they were living fewer years. And then I don't, again, not getting into all the details, but one of the things that he said was those beings that are on the earth that are the oldest have such a high consciousness. He's talking about trees. He's talking about mountains, the sea. Like, I don't think we, you know what I mean? It's like we've been looking out there, not that we don't get information from our aspects that we might call galactic or angelic or whatever, but there's so much on the earth that carries so much wisdom, and we can communicate with these things, and we know this, but that's kind of like, looking for something that's right in front of your face the whole time, and maybe we're waking up to it.
I feel that was the purpose. It was hidden right in front of our face, and the codes. And some of us know this for a long time, that this wisdom and codes are hidden in the mountains. A lot of this in the mountains. What I feel. But yeah, it was meant to stay hidden, I feel.
Yeah.
But now I feel a massive calling specifically to the women who carry the lineage of the codes of light.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people, I mean, I guess most of the people who are here are familiar with the codes of light. But I feel like the women, they are starting to reach out to me and asking, like, how do we dive deeper into this? Something is happening. Something massive is happening.
So what are they looking to explore their own, like, sacred wisdom that they're starting to come into?
I mean, I think, a lot of this is not conscious. It's just something that is pulling you, because I see this sisterhood that holds the codes of light for humankind. You know, it's something held for everyone, just starts like switches on to a different frequency, and it's emitting this light, and those who are meant to hear the call, they just feel something. I need to go there. You don't necessarily know what is this.
Yes.
But this, you are pulled because you are enough open enough in that moment, and you have the pull. And I feel now in these women, the next level is awakening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
just
doubt.
this book. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been saying this for the last week. This is something I noticed, and this is just information I just put out there. I'm not a yogi, and I'm not a guru, and I'm not a prophet, like someone that sees prophecy or says this is going to happen to that. But I noticed that the platforms that have the most substance don't have the most views or the most followers.
Yeah.
And those bigger platforms that we've all been watching, from time to time, Conspiracy Disclosure, even some Starseed Lightworker, and this is not making fun of anybody, or these were very important and may very well still be and will be for our awakening and our evolution, but they're running out of things to say. And because you can only talk about it for so long. And those sites and those people and those groups that are talking about the soul, the I am soul, talking about what you just said, there's women all over the world, and we know this in these communities for the last 10 years, 12 years, they're doing light language, that are coming in with certain channels and certain skills and abilities. That's a physical sign or physical representation of what's happening energetically in all of us, this feminine in all of us coming out, and they're leading the way. So yeah, to hear a practitioner like you say, hey, there's more women coming, and they're asking, I mean, how are you going to stop that energetic force? Once they start to, their free will starts to click, like all of ours did, like you leaving your country and your job and all the different things that we did, that we walked away from, that's a powerful force,
Yeah, you can't stop it. And I feel now that, like you said, some platforms are very big and very famous, and they did what was their purpose. But I feel things are shifting. Like it's now already in the process of changing who is getting more attention, because it's the frequency on Earth is shifting, and the consciousness of people is opening. So when this happens globally, people will gravitate to somebody who is holding that state of consciousness or higher, that vibration. So
that's true.
I don't know how long it takes, but I see that more people are now gravitating to what I share much more than before.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. And like everything's upside down all the time. And why would it be any different now? I mean, and I kind of see it like this. Like what I see is, if I look at it like energetically or in the field, that's been the more of the focus has been there. And because it's not sticking, because it's really all about the truth and what's real, it's kind of opening up and leaving a space, and all of those energies and people and souls, like the type that you're talking about with these women, is going to take that space. It's going to take that space. It's what else would? I mean, this is inevitable. So it's exciting. I'm really excited about where we're headed. I get a little caught up in how's it going to happen. And like you said, sometimes you get off track because something catches your attention, but yeah, to look at something like the headlines of the last 2-3 days and look at them and go, wow, this stuff's not working. It's just not working. And it's interesting because, to your point, people are not looking at the macro anymore. They're looking at the micro, which might be your platform or this platform, or so many other platforms, where if you combine them all, I wonder what that number is. I
Yeah.
just think that there's a lot more people tuning into this, this ascension frequency, expansion frequency, whatever you want to call it, than we think. And I think it's happening very rapidly too, especially this
There
year.
is, and I'm going to say there is an army of sensitive people who are not out there in protests because it's too much for us to be in crowds, but we are there. There is so many people like this who are silent right now just because they are, protecting their sanity and their well-being, because we are not, used to speaking out and telling everyone how we feel, because when we did that, we were slapped and told you are not normal or whatever. But there is for sure much more people than we think, than we see.
Yeah. I think Morgan was telling me the other day, we were talking about Canberra or something like that. How many people? It's like 750,000 or a million or something. And that something about, for every person that's there, there's like 7 or 8 people, 6, 7, 8 people that feel the same but don't go. And you make a really good point, because a lot of to me anyway, being highly sensitive, and I don't consider myself highly sensitive, just to bring some clarity. I'm talking about a lot of the people that you never hear from. They'll be in the crowd, that they'll make a comment now and then. They'll make a contribution. These are people doing, and we know this, they're doing the grid work. They're doing, all kinds of healing and alignment work for the earth and for the people in their own home, right? Just quietly, maybe with a couple of sisters, but you're right. Those type of people already have a challenge going out in public, and the last place they want to be is at some demonstration, but they're still there. And that energy is still making an impact.
Yes.
And I think there are more of them stepping up, though. And that's powerful.
Sure. Yeah.
That's a powerful thing. So do you have any feeling? I mean, we can't even talk about the future, right? But I mean, do you have any feeling? Because I share the admiration and the love and respect for reverence for the human hybrid species. I just think it's like the coolest thing in the universe. And I know we're all good, and I know we're on a leg of the journey, a very incredible leg of the journey of the soul. Yeah, but I don't know how it's going to go. I mean, how it actually unfolds to get to the point that we're going to get to.
Yeah, I have no idea, and I have no idea how long it's gonna take. I feel a massive acceleration right now, and I do feel that, more stuff is gonna collapse in the outside world, in the systems. It's just gonna take a bit of time. I don't know. I kind of felt until 2023 we are gonna be in the process, like mid 2023.
That was Franco's projection. It was like by the end of what did he say? He said by the end of 2023, the world would be basically led by councils of people like you. Not people that we know, but be actually local people. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's when, this what's happening now, the chaos, because I feel now chaos. This year, I don't even want to tap in because I don't want to see too much.
So you because I know we've probably done 20 shows now. I would bet you in 3 years. But so we've talked about everything, but I mean, we talk about what are you going through? And I remember many times you and I talking, and we're like, what the hell's going on? I can't take this anymore. I just want to pull my hair out. But are you, say, since the beginning of the year, are you going through the grind like you were? And if you do from time to time, is it as frequent as it used to be?
So I'm gonna say, when I go through something and like I'm getting some of my biggest challenges right now, and it's in a way, it touches me deeper, but it doesn't throw me off balance for very
Right.
long.
Right.
So I'm able to transmute faster, and I see much faster what's
Right. Right.
what's going on in my mind, and I can stop it, and I can replace it with the new program that I
Yeah.
want to put there. Um, but I have to say that some of my biggest challenges and fears of my whole life are coming up in the last 3 months. Yeah,
Wow. I've heard a
yeah.
lot of people saying that. I can't really say that's happened to me. And again, we know it's not linear because I mean, I went homeless for 2 years at the beginning of my trip, which was 2012, 11,
Mm,
12, 13. So I know a lot of the things that I went through at the time, I see people going through, which is total detachment from family, friends, total identity loss, total loss of freedom.
mm,
Um, all those things that the whole losing everything, kind of being homeless. I mean, there's a lot of people. If you don't have an address, I mean, I'm not trying to, homeless is homeless. I mean, I've seen some pretty rough stuff back in
mm.
the day, but if you don't have an address, you're homeless. You know what I mean? I mean, so there's a lot of people fitting that description right now. Uh, Morgan just sent me an interesting a message. It's funny how the calendar at Soulogy seems to have like it really speaks. And it's a natural thing because as you know, she'll send you a bunch of dates, people pick the dates, and then we'll look at the calendar and it'll be like, what wow, this is going to be a powerful day. But she was just telling me that Maja and the lady that's coming on later, last name is Meyer, right? And that means the giver of light, the giver of light. And you're both feminine, and we're here talking about these feminine, the feminine energy. Yeah, so there's just it's the little things to me that are meaningful. Like those that means more, and not that I totally understand it, than watching Bill Gates on an interview talk a bunch of shit. You know what I mean?
Yes, I don't even watch that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Maja, meaning is the giver. Did you know that? Your name is the giver of light.
No, I
No,
just
you
know that in Hebrew, Maya is water.
ah,
Mm.
what? Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's have you I noticed another thing is there's like a creativity surge in myself. I can feel it coming on. I see it in other people. Are you feeling anything like that? Like, the blockages, the impediments of the let's say the life force energy, the creative energy has been removed enough that it's starting to really make, you know, an impression on people. Are you feeling anything like that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I see this in people and in myself as well. But like in the last month or so, I felt like, okay, you just stop now and um, let it grow inside. Don't put it out there yet.
Yeah.
That's what I felt
Okay.
in the last month.
Yeah.
But now I feel like, okay, just
Yeah.
yeah,
Let it
good.
trickle out. Let it trickle out. Yeah. No, I feel the same. And I was like feeling it in January, and Morgan started telling me like middle of the month. I think February is just going to be like, just wait. Let's, I say, hey, I think I want to do this or I want to try this. It's like, just wait. And as I sat with it, I got the impression that you did. And I really sat with that. It's just building. I can feel it coming. Like, just
Yeah.
sit tight, hold. It's going to come out. And I've played around a little bit. I've written some stuff. Now, this is just my own personal experience, but also in talking to people and feeling their energy, from the higher senses, you can see it starting to come out. But you're right, and she's right. Don't rush it. Just let it come. because really, if you think about the last 10 years, and for some people, obviously it's longer, and some even shorter. But if we use 2012 as the marker, if you really think about it, we have had a consistent, ascending incline the whole time, no matter what. And even if we're going up and down, overall, it just keeps going like that. Yeah. Maja also means one who shines.
Oh,
with big hair. I love your hair, man. People are loving your hair. Oh, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I stopped dyeing my hair, so I let the silver grow out, and then this sense of freedom came to me, and now it's just,
So was there? I mean, what like? Because I'm you're not the only one I've seen do that. Was there something that made you just not color your hair? I mean, was there? You said you got you got something out of it, but I mean, like, did you know that going in? I mean, was there something that said, I'm going to just stop doing this? Was it a freedom kind of call?
Yeah. So for some time I felt, like I just want to be free in this. Why am I thinking that if I have gray hair, then what? Then my life is over. I'm old. I'm not. What am I thinking? And I was,
don't worry, you're not going to die.
We all like gray hair in men. This is very like charming and so on. But women need to color their hair. That's, I think, the program in society. So I was thinking about it for a long time, and I didn't dare. Again, like I colored it. But then in one moment, also because I really felt that call to return to nature, so I did like an audit of everything that I'm using, all the cosmetics, whatever, food.
Yeah.
Natural. And then it felt I just don't want to put anything more in my hair, even if it's a natural color. And then once I decided that, I felt so free to be myself as I am, like I didn't expect it,
Yeah.
Yeah. And the more it goes gray, the more I'm happy when I look at myself. And then I remembered that when I was a little girl, I was so looking forward to have all silver hair. I didn't understand why women were coloring their hair, because I thought this is amazing when you have all your hair silver.
You're manifesting it. Yeah. And that's another thing too, is like, that's just a small type of example to me. But like you said, you made the choice, you did it, and then you got this huge kind of return on it, right? Like there
exactly.
Yeah. And that seems to be happening. That seems to be happening with the choices that we're making. Like we've already done this. If you think about it, you did it when you quit your job and you left the country and you started on this crazy path, and everybody else pretty much has done the same thing. But it's like now, when you make a choice and step through a fear, you get an immediate, like, you can't expect it, and you can't go, oh, I'm going to do this, and then it's going to give me something back. But yeah, when you really sincerely, honestly face the fear, step through it, follow the guidance, you get an immediate confirmation. Sometimes it's material, sometimes it's immaterial, or both. But yeah.
And that's the quickening that I was talking about, because now it like really happens so fast when you shift, when you decide to stand in your truth or to walk the path of your truth. It goes really fast that you then feel that this was good for you.
Yes, that's right.
What I'm observing. Yeah.
That's and because when you hear, or when I started to hear the word, the quickening, whatever it was a few years back, and even with anything related to this time, most of the time, just, I guess, through conditioning, I would be thinking about the hard parts. I'd be thinking about, oh my God, is it going to be like natural disasters and famine? And, like it would be looking at that side of it, like the pain. But there's another side to it. And that's another thing that I think is a good sign, is the conversations, the experiences being conveyed to other people about these little miracles that are occurring, right? That's the other side of it, right? And
Yeah.
and that's,
But you
I
know
don't,
what? Yeah.
yeah. No, I just think that, like, we can give ourselves more credit now. It's okay. It's not arrogant.
Yeah.
It's there's a reason. Part of the reason I think that we've been able to do the things we've been able to do has to do with humility. Because let's
Yeah.
be honest about it. Every time, like you said, you've had some intense stuff come in, you're handling it better, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. But it still takes you down to the mat when it comes in the door, and you always walk away with more humility. To me, that's always been the one
Yeah.
thing, like, because you can't fake that to yourself. You really can't.
Yeah.
It takes some honesty to go, man, I fucked up, or man, I was unconscious to this, or but yeah.
Yeah. I want to add something here because you mentioned pain. What I personally have been doing and experiencing, in temple membership and just in my personal connections is, well, people are going through a lot of pain, but what we do now is we sit with that pain and in a circle, whether it's 2 people, 3 people, bigger circle, doesn't matter. When you just sit and you hold space for it, but like in a different way than before, really not trying to fix anything, just being present with whoever is experiencing pain. I mean, it alchemizes so much faster. It's acknowledged, but not held on to.
Right.
And it
Right.
transforms people so much when you can sit with them and just be present with the pain, not trying to fix it. I think
Yes.
this can have a really powerful effect right now.
Yeah. I've not heard anyone say that. I swear to you. I know, like, even going back to late 2019, because I remember when it started happening to me, and I started sitting with my feelings. And I've talked about this over the years, but there's something about, in as an individual, sitting with these things, this sadness, this grief, or whatever it may be, and acknowledging it, respecting it, recognizing it. And I don't really see it as a release. There is a release of pressure, but it's really accepting as a part of me. Now, when you hear about, or when I've heard about people doing group work in these communities, or even shows where we've had groups come on that meet together offline, we've had that happen before. Normally, they're trying to, and I know that sounds kind of wrong, but like trying to fix something. They're and rightfully so. I get that, but to sit in a
Yeah.
space where like 3 or 4 of us get together, I think this is what you're saying, and somebody says, "Hey, Todd, what's going on?" Hey, I'm in deep sadness. I can't, I'm trying to get my arms around why this damn thing keeps coming back up and seeing me every 3 months, and I don't know what to do. And like that whole silence, and just like you said, holding space, like that's a powerful thing. Are you doing that in your group, or do you do it like with
Yes, we
friends? Yeah, that's a very
I
powerful thing.
friends. Yes, we do this in temple membership. We have a call once a month, and because I hold a really safe space, and the people who are members for from the beginning or for a couple of years, they see that it's a really safe space to just
Yeah,
express yourself, and
yeah,
nobody is trying to make you feel better, but the circle is held just with love and presence.
yeah.
And I mean, I'm amazed just every time that we experience somebody sharing something painful.
Well,
And
that's a good, too, because if you look at, being a man, I can speak to this. I mean, everyone knows that the template that I was, and I'm still evolving from, and so many men, what happens when, in a typical relationship, when, let's say the woman or the child or whoever it is, the mother or the grandmother has a problem. What does the man do? The patriarchal, not the man, the man representing the patriarchal conditioning or programming. He wants to fix it. He wants to fix it. And then that person's mind, if it's fixed, then what do you have to complain about? Now, this that you're describing, I think, is more indicative of what you were talking about earlier in another way, which is that the women coming to you, more women coming to you, wanting to go deeper, that emergence of the feminine energy and just another characteristic. That's a powerful thing to think about, to participate in something like that. And I guess maybe we do it, like when you talked about people know it's a safe space. I experienced that over the years on the show, but not in the same way. I don't think, not where you had like 3 or 4 or 5 or 8 or 10 or whatever, where they're actually, sitting. And I would imagine it's in silence for the most part, isn't it? Or do you do a lot of talking about the pain?
Yeah.
If somebody,
No, we just have sharing, like how you feel, and if somebody is experiencing something that is very painful, then we just sit in silence.
Wow, that's powerful. That's really powerful. It really is.
Yeah. And humbling, humbling to see how much you can do just by being present, actually.
Well, there is something incredibly powerful to me when a person's transparent. It's already, what am I trying to say? It's already a challenge to be transparent with yourself. So that's what awareness is all about. But when people start to share, and normally, let's face it, if you ask me, Todd, tell me something that I don't know about you, what am I going to, what would be the natural reaction would be for someone to go, oh, well, let me tell you, one time I was a senior executive in this national company and I was this and I was that. But if I said to you, when I was on the streets, I did some really wild stuff, I went deep, and it was, whatever, right? Like, that's so powerful. And also a lot like what you were talking about, what we were talking about with the feelings and how you're feeling. Again, I don't see it anymore as a release. There is a release of an illusionary pressure, but it's actually owning and loving. I know that sounds a little cliche and new age, hippie-ish kind of thing, but yeah, it's a part of me. It's a part of me. And if I'm rejecting that part of me, it speaks for itself, right? I mean, it's gonna show up in my words or my actions or whatever. Yeah. Vulnerability leads to transparency, and telepathy is 100% transparency. So it's a good sign to me. Another thing that I saw in this Mateus De Stefano, these 2 episodes last night, was I can't really recall the words, but I understood through the coding. And what it was the story had gotten to the point, we've gotten to the point where many people, like the ones you're talking about, like yourself, like Morgan, like a lot of people that are on here, a lot of women, not to say that the men don't do it, but I'm just saying that's the leading the charge. Because of the work that we've done collectively through the years, and because the coding universally has been put into the blood of the earth, the water, and so on, that it created a more clear connection to the 5th dimension aspects, so that it could be embodied and then physicalized. And I was watching, and I was like, wow, that feels right. Like if that person anchors it in and applies it, that itself is the grid, right? And that's it. They were explaining it. He was explaining it kind of scientifically and all, but I could kind of see where our path and our stories lined up against his soul scientific explanation. And you could see you know what I mean? You could see the integration of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have any, I'm keeping you over a little bit. There's been 144 people in here most of the time, which is a good sign. So do you have any plans? Anything coming up as the spring approaches and the winter, God rest its soul, goddess rest its soul, leaves us? You got anything coming up?
I mean, well, so I am gonna soon share more information on this journey that I feel called to do for the female carriers of the codes of light. This has been really calling me, and I was like, no, but who will join? But I feel it. So soon I will share this, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And otherwise, like usually I'm creating sound healing meditations with my friends that are becoming so much more powerful. And actually I'm going to post very soon the last one that we did, which is reclaiming your feminine. And it's such a powerful one, like really.
So it's a sound healing, because like that couple that came on yesterday, the one I told you about with the Didge, she already had a practice of like harmonic singing and light language, and that she had, and so he got his Didge and started playing with her, collaborating just organically. And then I said, hey, can you do a little bit now? But those transmissions that have little words or no words, wow, those are starting to really impact. So like in the situation or in the example of what you're talking about with this one specifically about the feminine, would that be something that a man could connect more to his feminine, do you feel? Or is it just for the feminine?
Specifically for women,
Okay.
to release the trauma and pain of the various aspects of the feminine.
Wow.
Yeah, that one is specifically for women. It's not just to bring out the feminine aspect, but it's for women. Yeah.
Well, I would.
I mean, I don't know how.
No, that's fine. I was just curious. I'm just
but,
curious. No, I'd love to see any of them, but if you get a chance, tag me on it or send it to me in Messenger. I'd love to see what y'all are doing. That's very cool. I'm always looking around for just different stuff, and just to see what's out there, and if it's something that I feel like you put it out there and let other people see it. I think that's part of my role as an individual and as Soulogy. Part of Soulogy's role is to put stuff out there so people can be exposed to it, because there's code flying everywhere right now. There really is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I love you. I always appreciate spending time with you. You're my beautiful sister, and I wish you always, the best, with you and yours and all your endeavors. And just thank you. And thank you for the work you're doing. And it's good to see you. And we'll do it again, later in the year.
Thank you also. Thank you for inviting me. I always really enjoy these transmissions. I'm going to call them transmissions. Yeah. And thank you all for the work that you do. And thanks to everyone who was here with us.
Yes. Thank everybody. You take care.